God has gifted us with many treasures, but some are so rare and divine that only the richest can enjoy them. The world's 20 most expensive foods prove his abundance. Alien-looking food that locals love. You won't believe this, but there's a strange sea creature people in Chile and Peru actually eat, and it looks like it's from another planet. It's called Pyrgura chilensis, and it lives stuck to rocks under the sea. This creature doesn't move at all and survives by filtering water. On the outside, it wears a tough layer like armor, and inside, it hides soft flesh that people enjoy either raw or cooked with salad and rice. In Chile, locals even fish it regularly, and to them, it's a tasty part of the menu. Here's the wild part. Its meat tastes a bit like sea urchin, but with a strong metallic flavor. That's because it's full of iron, titanium, and a rare element called vanadium. No one really knows why this element is inside it, but it makes this creature even more mysterious. Commercial fishermen in Chile sell it fresh or dried, and because it's so rare outside the region, it costs a lot to get it anywhere else. Honestly, it's one of the strangest and most unexpected foods you'll ever hear about. Why is saffron so expensive? You won't believe how much one spice can cost. Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world, and just 1 pound of it can cost between $500 to even $5,000 US. That's crazy, right? It's just a spice we sprinkle on food. But here's the twist. Saffron comes from a flower called Crocus sativus, and every tiny thread is picked by hand. It takes a lot of hard work and time to collect enough, which is why it's so expensive. But saffron isn't just costly for no reason. It actually has powerful health benefits. The Greeks were the first to use it for things like boosting memory and improving mood. Today, we know saffron is full of antioxidants that clean your body from the inside. Some people even believe it helps with depression and may fight cancer. Whether or not all the claims are proven, saffron might be worth trying, if you've got the cash. Deadly fish that Japanese people still eat. You won't believe this, but there's a fish so deadly that one small mistake while cutting it can kill you. It's called the fugu fish, also known as the puffer fish. This little sea creature carries one of the most dangerous poisons in the world, tetrodotoxin, which is even stronger than cyanide. Most people would never think of eating such a fish, but in Japan, it's actually considered a delicacy. However, not just anyone can prepare it. Chefs in Japan go through years of tough training and need a special license before they're allowed to serve fugu, because even a tiny trace of poison left in the meat can be deadly. Here's the crazy part. Despite all the risks, Japanese people eat up to 10,000 tons of fugu every year. They trust their expert chefs with their lives. That's also why it's so expensive. Catching this fish isn't easy, and some types are endangered, making it even harder to get. On top of that, it's illegal to sell fugu outside Japan, so trying to smuggle it can land you in serious trouble. But in Japan, where people have full faith in tradition and skill, fugu remains a popular and dangerous dish served with precision and a side of thrill. World's rarest watermelon. Have you ever heard of a watermelon that costs more than your phone? Meet the black Densuke watermelon from Japan. You might think it's huge and heavy because it's so expensive, but that's not true at all. It's actually smaller than a regular watermelon, only about 8 pounds. But what makes it super rare is that only around 100 of them are grown each year. Unlike the thousands of watermelons grown in the United States or Europe, these are limited and very hard to find. That's why just one can cost anywhere from $250 to a shocking $6,000. But rarity isn't the only reason it's so pricey. Grown only in the cold northern areas of Japan, these watermelons have a sweet, rich taste that regular ones just can't match. They need extra care, special attention, and the perfect conditions to grow right. Farmers treat them like treasure, and that's exactly how they taste, like something rare and special. So next time you see a watermelon, just imagine one that costs as much as a vacation. The secret behind the world's most expensive truffle. You won't believe how far people go for this mushroom. Alba white truffles are one of the rarest and most expensive foods in the world. Unlike regular mushrooms, you can't just grow these anywhere. They only grow in special soil near tree roots and need just the right mix of sunlight and moisture. Even then, no one knows exactly which kind they'll find until they're dug up. In Italy, where 28 different types of truffles grow, people even train dogs, and sometimes pigs, to sniff them out deep in the forests. But why are they so pricey? Well, the hunt for these truffles isn't easy or cheap. It takes time, skill, and a lot of luck. Plus, chefs all over the world want them because they make fancy dishes taste even better. With so many people chasing after something so rare, the price just keeps going up. That's why a small piece of Alba white truffle can cost a fortune. Why this steak costs hundreds of dollars. You hear dry-aged Wagyu entrecote and think, what kind of name is that? Sounds more like a science project than something you'd eat. Most people wouldn't even guess it's just a very expensive steak. But once you realize that it's actually a top-quality steak that's been aged to boost flavor, suddenly it all makes sense. People love steak, right? And if it promises better taste and more tenderness, they'll pay hundreds of dollars for it without thinking twice. Now here's the crazy part. The steak is aged using a process that slowly dries it out under perfect temperature and humidity that makes the flavor richer and the meat softer. But during this time, a crust of fungus grows on the outside. Yeah, sounds gross, but don't worry. They trim it all off before cooking. This whole process can take weeks or even months and needs special equipment. That's why it costs so much. But in the end, you get one of the tastiest steaks money can buy. World's most expensive fish eggs. You won't believe how expensive these fish eggs are. We're talking about Iranian Almas Beluga caviar, the rarest and priciest caviar in the world. Now, caviar itself just means fish eggs, and while that may not sound tasty to most of us, the rich and royal love it like it's treasure. Among all caviars, beluga is already a luxury, but Iranian Almas takes it to another level. It's not just expensive, it's called the diamond of caviar, both for how rare it is and how valuable it feels. You can't just walk into any store and get it. It's only sold at a few fancy places like Caviar House and Prunier. Hold on tight, because the price will blow your mind. A single teaspoon of Iranian Almas caviar can cost over $36,000. Yes, just one tiny spoon. That's more than what many people earn in an entire year. All that for something that's just fish eggs. And this is exactly why people often get upset with the ultra-rich. While most folks are trying to pay bills, the 1% are out here spending small fortunes on luxury snacks. Why raw bluefin tuna is so expensive. You won't believe how much people are willing to pay for a slice of raw bluefin tuna. This fish is not only hard to catch, but also highly prized in places like Japan. The bigger and better the tuna, the more expensive the meat gets. Sushi bars love it, especially for sashimi, that's raw tuna meat served fresh. It's not just food, it's a luxury. And because so many people around the world crave it, the price keeps climbing. But here's the twist. It's not just tasty, it's healthy too. Bluefin tuna is packed with lean protein, omega-3 fats, and important vitamins. Sounds perfect, right? Well, almost. There's a small risk if the fish isn't handled properly. It could carry parasites if it's not fresh or cleaned by the right people. So while it's a favorite for many, always make sure you're getting it from a trusted source before digging in. Japan's most expensive melon. You won't believe how much one melon can cost in Japan. Meet the Yubari melon. Not your average fruit. This special melon is a mix of two types of cantaloupe and only grows in one small region of Japan. Because of this, it's super rare and very expensive. In 2017, just 2 of these melons were sold for $26,000. Yes, you hear that right. These melons are treated like royalty, grown with extreme care to make sure their skin is smooth and flawless. Here's the crazy part. These melons are so sweet and perfect that people gift them like treasures. But if you get one, you still need to handle it carefully or you'll ruin its quality. Even the inside of this melon looks different from normal ones. Japan takes its fruit seriously and people are ready to pay big money, even if sometimes it's just for show. Still, who wouldn't love a perfect melon, right? Oysters were once free. You won't believe this, but oysters were once given away for free, like snacks. Today, they're known as fancy food for rich people, but in the old days, they were everywhere. Back in the 1800s, cities like London and New York handed them out on the streets. In fact, by 1900, people in New York were eating 1 million oysters every single day. Oysters have actually been around for over 300 million years, and farming them goes way back too. A Roman engineer, who also invented underfloor heating, came up with the idea of oyster farming. Pretty wild, right? Now here's where the twist comes in. Because oysters were so popular, people started overfishing them. On top of that, they began polluting the waters where oysters lived. Their numbers dropped fast. So, officials had to step in, watch the oyster populations closely, and only allow limited farming and shipping. That's why oysters are expensive today. What used to be a free treat is now a luxury. Just another example of how we ruin good things by loving them too much. The dark secret behind fancy food. You won't believe what some people call a luxury food. It's called foie gras, which means fat liver in French. Sounds fancy, right? But here's the shocking part. It's made by force-feeding ducks or geese until their livers get unnaturally big. That's right, they literally stuff the birds with food just so they can eat the liver later. And guess what? People in France treat this like a delicacy, but they also eat snails all the time, so maybe we shouldn't trust their taste too much. Now here's where it gets even stranger. They don't just cook the liver, they bake it into a pie-like crust called pâté, sometimes served with jelly, brandy, and even truffles. Yes, truffles. Those super expensive mushrooms. They care a lot about how it looks too, with a creamy white and pink color. But all this fancy dressing doesn't change what it really is. And get this, just 1 pound of foie gras can cost you $40 to $80. No wonder so many people are fighting to ban how it's made. Honestly, I think I'm on their side. Goose barnacles are not what you think. You hear the name goose barnacles and think, why are we doing this to birds? Calm down. No geese are harmed here. Even though the name sounds odd, goose barnacles have nothing to do with actual geese. These strange creatures are actually sea animals, kind of like crustaceans, that stick themselves onto rocks floating in the ocean. Getting them off is super risky. People have to climb on sharp rocks with waves crashing around them. That's why they're one of the most expensive seafoods you'll find. But here's the twist. It's really simple to cook them. Most people just boil them in salty water and that's it. Some say they taste like lobster, others say like clams. Either way, there's a big demand for them, especially in places like Portugal where people love eating them. And yes, once again, no geese are involved, which honestly makes me feel a lot better. Japan's most expensive mushroom. You won't believe what I'm going back to Japan for this time. No, it's not about fruit like before. This time, it's all about mushrooms. But not just any mushroom. This one's called matsutake. It's super rare and really expensive. In Japan, people love eating it, and it's seen as a fancy delicacy. But here's the twist. It only grows in small forest areas, and those places are getting smaller and smaller. That means there are fewer mushrooms, and when something's rare, the price shoots way up. Now here's the crazy part. Matsutake mushrooms have been part of Japanese culture for over 1,000 years. That's right, people have been enjoying this mushroom since ancient times. Some even say it's a powerful symbol of Japanese tradition. And if you want to buy just 1 pound of it today, get ready to pay nearly $300. The world's most expensive ham. You won't believe this, but a simple-looking ham can cost you $200 for just 1 pound. But wait, this isn't your everyday ham. This is Iberico ham, one of the most unique meats in the world. It's not just tasty, it's rich with flavor that takes months to build. People go crazy for it, and yes, they're ready to spend a fortune just to get a slice. Here's the wild part. This ham comes from a special pig called the Iberico hog found in Spain. These pigs have long snouts and thin legs, and their bodies are built in a way that helps the meat cure longer. The result? A deep, intense flavor you won't find anywhere else. It's so rare and tasty that it's now one of the most expensive meats on earth. The mysterious black chicken. You won't believe this, but there's a chicken that's black inside and out. It's called the ayam samani, and it's not just any chicken. From its feathers to its bones, everything is black. People in Indonesia say it's linked to dark powers, which makes it even more mysterious. But instead of being scared, some people are obsessed with it. They work hard to raise the perfect ayam samani, not just for its meat or eggs, but for something more. Here's the crazy part. Some folks don't even buy this chicken to eat. They keep it as a pet or even a status symbol to show off how rare and special it is. And since these black chickens are super hard to breed, you won't find them everywhere. That's why their price is so shocking. Just 2 of these birds can cost you over $1,000. world's most expensive grilled cheese. You won't believe how much someone paid for a grilled cheese sandwich. Not the kind you make at home with a slice of cheese and bread. This one is made to be the best in the world. If you're someone who chased the taste of perfection, then you'd have to visit a restaurant called Serendipity 3. Makes you wonder, what happened to Serendipity 1 and 2, right? Anyway, this place serves a grilled cheese sandwich that costs a jaw-dropping $214. So what makes it so expensive? Here's the wild part. It's covered in real gold. Yes, you hear that right. They actually put gold in the crust to give it that royal golden look. It's more of a luxury experience than just lunch. But don't get too excited, you have to order it 2 days in advance. So unless you're really into eating gold, maybe just stick with your regular homemade one. Bird saliva soup for $1,400. You won't believe what people in China are paying $1,400 for. And it's not gold or diamonds, it's soup. But not just any soup, it's made from a bird's nest. Yes, a real bird's nest. This isn't the kind you find in trees with twigs and feathers. These nests are actually made from the bird's saliva. And believe it or not, people call this weird thing the caviar of the East. And that's not even the craziest part. These nests aren't only used in soup. Some people turn them into sweet desserts and even jelly. It's one of the most expensive and luxurious foods in Chinese cuisine. So next time you hear someone talking about a fancy dinner, just know there are folks out there sipping on bird spit for $1,400. The mystery of moose cheese. Have you ever heard of moose cheese? Don't freak out, it's not what you think. Moose milk is actually a real thing, and it's sold across Scandinavia and Russia. It's considered a delicacy in some areas. Believe it or not, people, especially in Canada, use that milk to make a special cheese called moose cheese. It's not just any cheese, though. It's rare and expensive. So why is this cheese so pricey? The process of collecting the milk and making the cheese is complicated and time-consuming. That's why it costs around $500 per pound. I asked around about who buys this fancy cheese, but everyone who answered wanted to stay anonymous. Would you spend that much on cheese? Iranian pistachios are the best in the world. Did you know that Iran produces more than half of the world's pistachios? That's right. With over 115,000 metric tons grown each year, Iran has earned billions of dollars from pistachio exports. It's no surprise that Iran is the biggest pistachio producer and exporter on the planet. But here's the real secret. Iranian pistachios are known for their unbeatable taste, quality, and nutritional value. The country's perfect climate and soil make it the best place to grow these nuts. So if you ever buy some expensive pistachios, know that you're likely enjoying the very best in the world. Abalone, the ocean's white gold. Abalone, also known as white gold, comes from the ocean's kelp forests, and it's a rare treasure. There are 56 types of abalone found worldwide, but getting your hands on one isn't easy. Despite its wide range, abalone is hard to find, making it even more special. Some people discovered its delicious taste and turned it into a delicacy, causing the price to skyrocket. It's often compared to luxury foods like caviar and Wagyu beef, which makes it even more sought after. The price of wild abalone can reach up to 500 kilogram, but don't expect a lot of meat for that price. People are willing to pay huge amounts for it, even though it's just a type of snail. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look at the world's most expensive foods, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing content. See you in the next video.